Welcome to Quipez. This is a basic HTML tutorial on how to install Quipez in your basic website. You'll need to have basic HTML skills. You don't need to do any coding because everything we do is copy and paste. But you do need to know the various tags and elements within the HTML page. We'll be using copy and paste quite a bit. Very simple process. Then also, you'll need to have skills for FTP, which is called File Transfer Protocol. This actually moves your completed HTML document from your local server onto your web server. If you are fortunate enough to be working on cPanel, you don't need to worry about any of this. The cPanel actually edits directly onto your live web page, so there's no FTPing or transferring of the files required at all. Let's go ahead and we'll get started. We'll start with right here. You're going to go to quipez.com, click on the link Getting Started. It's the top of almost every page through our website. And we'll scroll down and we're going to select item number 1, which is the free trial. Now this takes you to our pricing page. We have 4 different price levels for the Quipez forms. This one is free, and that's what we're going to be using. The good news is the coding and installation of Quipez is identical to any of our other paid versions. The free version is free forever, but you're only allowed 1 Quipez form. So we'll click on this to give it a try and see how it goes. First thing you're going to be confronted with is to register your name. We're going to come up with the name of Fred. And I'm going to put an email address in of fred@fred.com. We'll enter our secret password. We'll enter the secret password again. Click on register. And now you'll be required to put in your registered email address, which is the same, fred@fred.com. And our secret password. Click on Remember Me, sign in. And this is the heart of the entire Quipez system. This is where you submit and put all of your various options, colors, fonts, location, all kinds of things here in your form. Down to the bottom, here the first thing we need to do is we're going to input the name of this form. It can be anything you want, provided it's lowercase alpha characters only. It doesn't accept numbers. So we'll put in the name of Fred Test. You can choose what kind of style you want. This is going to be a word cloud. We can do a list if we want, but for this demonstration it'll be a cloud. You can put up to, it defaults to 20 words within your word cloud. You can have up to 100 if you want. You can have even more than that if you want, but we'll default to 20. Do you want to have your words shuffled, meaning that each time the page is loaded, the words appear in a different order? We'll say yes. We also have a dictionary. It's a 450,000 word dictionary that checks the spelling and also eliminates any profanity. It will not allow profane words, English profane words, to be used. So we'll click this, obviously, to yes. Expiration, do you want your words to expire? Generally on a small site where you're not getting a lot of visitors, you probably don't want your words to expire. But if you have a very, very busy site where you may want to have your words expire in just a matter of, like, say 13 minutes, you can do this, or 13 hours or 13 days. It's entirely up to you. We're a small volume website, we'll say no. We want our words to stay pretty much forever. It defaults to the advanced styling options, where we have all these different items down here that we'll be taking on one by one as we go through this tutorial. First thing we're going to enter is zoom, and the default is we're going to put in 1, And that's all we need to do at this point. We'll explain more on this later. The word colors will default to black, which is the pound followed by 6 zeros. And we're going to keep it real simple, and we're going to save this information. This is the actual form that has all the code that you're going to be required to input into your HTML document in order to start getting it work. So there's Fred test, we have no reviews, the dictionary is on, the shuffle, the words is on, and we have a total of 20 words that we're going to show. And the decay, or meaning when the words will disappear, we have that set as never. One other thing we're gonna do, since we're just first installing it, we have a feature called the test mode. Before we go into that, the review interval is set for 3 hours. What this means is that a person who is inputting a word, a review for you, can only input that word once every 3 hours. Each person that enters a word, we fingerprint we record their IP address, we record the browser type, we record the device type. You can set this to pretty much whatever you want, hours, days, whatever you want. However, this will eliminate the person from, what this does is it eliminates the person from posting multiple times the same words or multiple words, all one after the other, possibly skewing the results of the Quipez form. This way, he only can do it every 3 hours. He or she can do it only every 3 hours, and that's it. They can't do anything more than that. It helps keep everybody on an even playing field. Even you as a site owner, you cannot post because all the postings have to come from external inputs. So it keeps everybody on a level playing field. We're putting this into test mode. What test mode does is it allows you to input words on a testing basis so you can see how the form is going to look and react. The words only last about 30 minutes and then they disappear. It's really handy to kind of keep things, to be able to test the form, see how it fits and how the fonts look and that sort of thing. So we're going to go ahead and go into test mode and we'll save this form. So here is the information we're going to be inputting into the web page. There are 3 distinct areas, all very simple. Here is a sample of the web page. This is a text or a HTML editor that I use. It's made by Coffee Cup. It's a real simple, basic editor. So we're going to copy this first line of code, which is the style sheet. It's going to go at the top of your form. See where it says head? And then below, there's the close tag of head. So we'll pop this style tag somewhere within those head tags, just like that. The next thing we're going to do is a JavaScript. It's number 2. This goes at the bottom of your page. So we're going to copy the script. We're going to scroll down to the bottom of the web page. And you see where we have all the other script types. Just paste that code right into there. Finally, we copy the heart of the system, which is the actual Quipez form. So all you do is you copy this, you paste it in an area. I would like to have it show up right up around here. So I have an area that I designated for this, a big blank spot, and you just paste that into there. And there you have it. There's your Quipez form. So now we can go ahead and begin putting in some words to test the form. Great. Fantastic. Love. Happy. Perfect. And here's a little bit on how this star rating, you notice the stars up here are they're showing 5 stars. That is an automatic system we have built in that works off the sentiment value of the words you're inputting. The words you input that are positive increases your review. Words like we're putting in right now, like horrible, bad, you'll notice the star rating is going down. And if we start putting in good words, like fantastic, the star rating goes back up. So the sentiment value is completely automated. It does it all in the background. Now what I want to work on is, you notice how the words are sort of lost. We need to improve on the word size. So remember when we were working with the form earlier, there was an area that we could look at that had zoom into the cloud. We set that as 1. Let's increase that to 2. We'll save it. We're entering a word, and there you go. The words have grown and are filling in the Quipez form in a much better fashion. So now, one thing I'm not really happy about that we'd like to work on here in a moment is the actual color of the fonts. Here you can see I misspelled a word, so it won't let me put it in. I corrected it. Now I'm going to put in a dirty word, and you'll notice that it won't even take it. It doesn't show in there at all. That's the function of our profanity filter we have built into the background of the system. So let's go ahead and we're going to change the font to something a little bit, or excuse me, change the color to something that stands out a little bit more than what we have here. Very simple to do. What we're going to do is go to some pre-configured fonts, font colors here. There we have about 30 some font colors and color combinations that you can select from. Lots of choices to go by, and if these don't suit you, we have a palette up at the top of the form. You can click, and every possible shade and hue of colors that you would want are right here, along with the HTML code required. So let's pick out an interesting font color for this. This is going to be Rustic Barn. All you have to do is copy the color code right there, and then scroll down to where it says Font Colors, Word Colors, and paste in the code you just copied. Press save. We're going to enter a word which refreshes the form, and there you have a nice, interesting font colors. Now that we have a pretty good understanding of how to create the Quipez form, we understand how the sentiment values work. We now have learned how to change the color of the words and or the fonts. Now let's really make it stand out and change the background color. Really simple to do. So what we're going to do is go to our web page, and we have pre-configured background colors for you under, believe it or not, background colors. We have about 32 pre-configured colors for your choosing, but you can copy or use any color that you want. Again, the same palette, you can open it up and pick whatever color, size, hue that you could possibly want. All the HTML code is there. We'll pick kind of a nice sort of benign color, which is this pale yellow. We just click on copy the color code. We're going to select and then paste right over the current color. We're going to save the form. Go over to our form, put in a word to refresh, and there you have our really nice background color. Pretty simple, very easy. Now what we're going to work on is an interesting effect called delay. As you can see, we have all of our words kind of in a nice orderly fashion here, and we can change the speed that these words fill the page. Right now we have it set at 100 milliseconds. Let's change it to 500. We'll enter a word, and you'll see how the words now slowly fill in the page, kind of giving your users a chance to read each word as they come up on the page. It kind of make a nice dramatic effect. Now we'll change it back to a standard 200, and we're going to move on to another interesting effect. Notice how the words that we have on the left hand side are in a fairly orderly manner. They're somewhat lined up horizontally, somewhat random, different sizes. But let's change it to something really interesting. And you can take it or leave this if you want. It really depends upon, your particular web page style. Right now we have word rotation as never. We're going to set it for always. The minimum rotation I have set at 5, and the steps I have set at 2. We're going to save it, enter a word, and you'll see how the words begin to go off kilter and start running in all different directions, which makes for an interesting, more or less artistic effect, more of the true cloud version of this type of thing. We can change the settings again, maybe making it a little more dramatic. We'll increase the steps, we'll save it, enter a word, and you'll see even more rotation of the individual words. Some are upside down, some are right side up. You can play these settings all you want and come up with all kinds of crazy effects if you like. Okay, so we have all kinds of interesting effects here with the fonts by rotating them. Let's change it back to where it was, and we'll do a couple other neat little things with the fonts. So we saved it, we changed it back to no rotation. Now we're back to a relatively orderly method of showing these particular words. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go down to font weight. Right now we have it set at 300. We're going to reduce it down to 100 and watch what happens. Enter a word, and now we have a very light, almost elegant looking font. Now we're going to change the font weight up to 600, which is bold and heavy. We'll enter a word to refresh. And now you've got a very bold, outstanding font. We're going to set it back to 300. More of the standard medium weight font. So that's all we have for this lesson. On this particular video, we have lots of other videos coming up that will help further education and further the application of Quipez. Thanks for listening.